once you experience, once you have that knowledge, that awareness, yo, I didn't like what I did when I was young. And that could have just been last Friday. And I was young. And I didn't like it.
My career would be over. I'd get kicked out the black community because we're supposed to have a monolithic.
You know, I really get this feeling that if j.cole was really about like grassroots, I figured at this point, he would have taken a jab against a formidable opponent. You might not want to hear this, but the credit that should be given to Drake is the fact that he puts himself out there and he at least gives us the opportunity to experience something unique, because by being such an anomaly of throwing himself in situations that most artists who are his contemporaries or at his level, they would never do what he does. So for Cole, I'm going to say the complete opposite. I mean, he just plays it so safe in terms of controversy. And when I use that word, I don't want you to jam it together with the sort of controversy of random acts of dickheadedness via social media. I mean controversy in the sense of doing something unconventional, which isn't always trolling. It's not always attention seeking. Sometimes it's just mixing things up. And this is exactly what makes you a legend. This is how you get to bookmark yourself to be a legend. You know, because make no mistake about it, as much as you want to say the ghostwriting on this side about the Canadian guy, then there's Cole, who hasn't really challenged himself in his career. We all know he could spit. We all know he can tell stories. We know how talented he is. And, you know, when he postured on 1985, it left something to be desired, because it's like, how longer are you going to continue to be that great player on the least effective team in the league that will never play in a championship series? So you can just sit back and just stack up all those stats and your career is justified for some reason. You're Dominique Wilkins, basically. How long is he going to be Dominique Wilkins and make the transition of becoming something else? That's what I'd like to know.
Oh, now you gonna preach to me, right? I'm gonna ice you right now if you don't.
It's the simulation that I'm...
You got to avoid trolls because you have to. Because it's your job as an intelligent consumer to avoid them at all costs. The only thing that you should be contributing to a troll is likes and views. Because people think that just because you give something the attention and you watch it and you sort of digitally encourage it, they think that's where everything is decided. But wait for it. The world doesn't just run on pixie theory. You know, it's money. It's, do you go to these shows? Do you pay for these songs via streaming? That's where we have to stay away from the trolls. I think trolls should be given all the attention that they want via social media. If they find out ways to monetize whatever it is that they do, then that's fine by them. But you the people, are the ones that, for whatever reason, you're downloading, what is it, Fifi? You're downloading Fifi. You're feeding the beast. You're feeding the animal. And I understand what happens in the case of Tekashi specifically is when a person becomes what he's become, which is just basically a cartoon character, he begins to be a guilty pleasure for people. And you can sort of just justify downloading a single because After all, he's just a cartoon character. He's not to be taken seriously. And I don't agree with that, because I think the dangerous part of a troll is that they are willing to tell you what reality is dependent on what is most advantageous for them. I'll say it in much more simple terms. They will lean to whatever side they have to in order to get your attention. So if somebody is really shot at and everything online points towards this was a hoax, this was fake, do not doubt a troll to go along with it for whatever reason, because at this particular time you're looking at this bit of content, and what matters is that I maximize that as much as I possibly can. So you have to understand how dangerous that is, because that's what makes Willy Wonka dangerous, right? That's why Willy Wonka is the most skilled and the most efficient troll of them all. If you ever see that movie, there's this scene in the movie that totally just flips your mind upside down. And it's his very first scene in the movie, to my knowledge. It's his very first scene in the movie, and he's slowly walking up to this gate where, as we all know, we have these children out here with their golden tickets, and they are waiting in anticipation to get inside of the factory. So he comes walking out of his home, and he's stumbling. He has a cane. So it would appear that Willy Wonka is hurt. He's injured. He's a very wealthy man, so the local press doesn't know much about him. He's very cryptic. But he's slowly hobbling up to the gate when all of a sudden he does some tuck and roll maneuver, does a flip, and ends up right on his feet. So from that moment on, he could do whatever he wanted with you. It did not matter. That's the genius of a troll. I don't want to use that word, but that is the genius of a troll. I'm willing to lean on whatever side is most advantageous to me.
I think people focus too much on the past and focus too much.
Chase the man now, and you his number one G. His number one G.